Now on Fast Track News, West Lafayette Mayor Erin Easter delivered her State of the City address Monday. She emphasized ways that students can be involved in the city through a newly improved app, as well as her plans to keep our campus safe for years to come.
Plus, the Tony Award-winning show Hadestown came to Purdue Thursday, but the week before, Convocations held a seminar about the mythology behind the show.
And a rally took place outside the Tippecanoe Courthouse, protesting rising deportations and ICE. All your campus news, weather, and sports is straight ahead. Fast Track is back.
Happy Friday, Boilermakers. I'm Kyla McElroy.
And I'm Kyle Herschel. It's Friday, February 7th. Here's a look at your campus news for the week. First, the West Lafayette Mayor Erin Easter delivered her annual State of the City address, speaking on changes to housing that will be implemented along with the appointment of a new housing director. She also spoke on her plans to keep our campus safe this year, emphasizing mental health training for law enforcement, plus ways students can help the city from their phones. Reporter Justine Hinckley has the story.
I'm here at the West Lafayette City Hall preparing to listen to the State of the City address presented by Mayor Erin Easter. She'll be talking about development as well as a new strategic plan for the city. Following her address, we'll have the opportunity to sit down with her and discuss the ways that this will affect Purdue students. You mentioned in your report that there is an app for the city of West Lafayette. How do you envision students at Purdue utilizing this app to be active participants in the city?
We would love it if you did that. So it's called Report It, West Lafayette. You can find it in all app stores. And basically it's a way using geolocation for you to snap a photo of an issue within the city, report it to us, and we have timetables of 24 hours we'll respond to you. You can see the timeline of us addressing the problem. So if it's a pothole, we might not be able to address it until the spring, but you'll know that we saw it and it's on our list to address when potholing operations resume when it's a little bit warmer out.
Mayor Easter also spoke of her hopes to maintain Purdue's reputation as a safe campus.
One of the key things that we focus on within West Lafayette Police is our social service and response, crisis response specialists, and we're adding to that team this year. So we'll have more ability to respond to issues that maybe don't require a badge and a gun to show up, but they do require somebody who can help connect you with resources.
Thank you again to Mayor Easter for taking the time to speak with us today. This is Justine Hinckley reporting from the West Lafayette City Hall for Fast Track News.
Before Mayor Easter spoke, the West Lafayette City Council convened and discussed a variety of issues, including new housing plans near Airport Road. The date on the groundbreaking has yet to be announced.
If you are interested in the Report It app, it's free and available for download on all mobile platforms.
Hey, we had some pretty nice weather this past week, don't you think?
Yeah, we had 50s and 60s 2 days, 3 days of the week.
But it did not stick around for long.
No, it didn't. Meteorologist Alex Turkov is here with the first look at the forecast.
Well, good afternoon, Boilermakers. If you were looking for this forecast today to be warmer than it was yesterday on Thursday, that's not going to be the case. We are sitting at a high of 39, and yesterday we saw a high in the mid-40s. We will not see that again until likely next Saturday. Then we'll drop down to a low of 27. The skies will be mostly sunny and clear outside, but something to look out for later on this evening is a possible chance of rain, and with those temperatures decreasing, also a chance of flurries. So also sunrise this morning was at 7:50 and the sunset is at 6:13. By the end of February, this will be about sunrise at 7:30 and sunset about 6:30. So something to look forward to. February is kind of that long drag month. It's the shortest month, but somehow feels like the longest. Now, what we're tracking for this forecast is, again, possible rain and flurries for this evening. It's a big deal if you're going out to the Purdue game and if you're going to be traveling back home or anything like that. This is substantial for you. And then chance of snow midweek next week. We will see mid to low 30s all next week with some chance of snow that could accumulate. And then staying, again, in the mid to high 30s all next week. I'll have more of your future forecast and that cold weather and what to anticipate coming up.
On Thursday, Hadestown came to town, and with it, the eternal stories of Orpheus and Eurydice. But what are the stories behind the musical? Weeks before the story hit the stage, Convos sought to answer that question. Last Thursday, Purdue Convocations hosted the Way Down to Hadestown, an event dedicated to decoding the myths that inspired the musical. Doctors Charles Campbell, Daniel Connor, and Aaron Moody, all professors in the classics program, spoke on the origins of Orpheus's tale, and how those tellings differ across human history and how it's portrayed today. We spoke to Mike Ermintrout, Senior Associate Director of Convos, about what it meant to bring Hadestown to Purdue.
Purdue Convocations has a long history of presenting Broadway productions, touring Broadway, and it's not very often that we get a show that is so recent in the Tony Award-winning cycle, still playing on Broadway. When I saw it in January of 20, both my colleague Todd and I both knew that we needed to bring it here, because we knew it would have some curricular traction at the university, but it's also an amazing retelling of the ancient myth with New Orleans themed music and just amazing performances. It's just so well done and so well produced.
Attention all graduating seniors. The deadline to apply for spring commencement is today, February 7th. You can do this easily by logging into your My Purdue portal under the Ready to Graduate tab. Additionally, don't forget about the new Civics Literacy Proficiency Test that is now required to graduate. To walk the stage this spring, you must complete one of the pathway options and complete the exam. More information can be found in the My Purdue tab under the Civics Literacy section.
An expansion to the Indiana Lifeline Law has been passed by the Indiana State Senate and is now being voted on in the House. The original law, first passed in 2012, only protected the caller from being prosecuted for underage drug use or possession. The proposed expansion drafted by Senator Ron Alting would give the person in the emergency the same protections as the caller. Purdue Student Government Vice President Rebecca Seener, who has been working with Senator Alting, shared her thoughts on the expansion.
The typical counter-argument to this is, does this encourage or incentivize underage drinking? No, this does not encourage or incentivize underage drinking. You know, students are going to drink regardless of whether this policy is in effect or not. This is not going to increase underage drinking, and we actually have not seen an increase in underage drinking since implementation of medical amnesty policies.
Seener also mentioned that there has actually been a decrease in underage drinking in Indiana since the original bill was passed. After the bill passes the House, it will be up to Governor Mike Braun to sign it into law.
This past weekend, a peaceful protest was hosted outside the Tippecanoe County Courthouse amid rising tensions across the country. The protest was organized by the Hoosier Human Rights Initiative, an organization that dedicates itself to advocating for the rights of marginalized communities. This protest is one of many across the country where members of the Latino community have taken to the streets to protest the recent deportations under President Trump. The protest began last Saturday at 11 a.m. and it lasted for many hours throughout that day and into the next.
Up next, after the band Coin broke up, the headliner for the Student Concert Committee's spring show. The committee grabbed a new performer, and he's not a complete unknown. It's Bob Dylan.
And still to come, Purdue archivist Adriana Harminer is set to move on to the semifinals of Jeopardy! You're watching Fast Track News.
Hola from Spain.
G'day, mates.
Buenos dias.
Bonjour.
Hello from South Korea.
I'm studying abroad in Valencia, Spain this semester.
I'm studying abroad in Sydney, Australia.
I'm studying abroad in Madrid, Spain.
Studying at Seoul National University.
At Issy Supero in Toulouse, France.
And I'm really getting to enjoy meeting all the new people and the culture.
How different it is from Purdue University.
It is an absolutely fantastic experience.
I'm living my best life.
I can't wait to see you guys all overseas soon. A bientôt.
Adios.
Nos vemos de España.
Welcome back. Throughout the years, many popular artists have taken to the stage at Elliott Hall of Music. Some of those artists include Lady Gaga, Snoop Dogg, and Fleetwood Mac. Earlier this week, Convos announced that another iconic artist is returning to campus for the first time in over 20 years.
Reporter Julia Blanford has the story.
On Tuesday morning, Purdue Convos announced that singer-songwriter, Nobel Prize winner, and 60s icon Bob Dylan is performing on campus. Despite his impressive resume, many of the college students that Fast Track interviewed did not even know who he is.
I also only really vaguely know who Bob Dylan is.
Purdue student Kevin Pambecki knows Bob Dylan solely from the song that Guns N' Roses covered, Knocking on Heaven's Door. Once he found out that Bob Dylan was the original singer, he was pleasantly surprised.
Yes, he's a legend.
Even though both students don't know who he is, Elliot will still have plenty in attendance.
Maybe. It depends on if I have an exam.
Despite Bob Dylan not being the most popular Gen Z artist, there was still a long line at the box office when tickets went on sale on Thursday. Some students were waiting as long as 2 hours. Purdue student Lucas Nierzwicki was fortunate enough to wait for only one.
I got here like 30 minutes before the box opened, and from the time it opened, it took about another 30 minutes, so it was a decent wait.
Even though Bob Dylan is an older artist, Nierzwicki found out about him in a very modern way.
I was watching a video probably like 10 years ago, and the YouTuber I was watching talked about Bob Dylan. I was like, oh, that's a musician? Okay.
Some people may know Dylan from the recent biopic detailing his life, and not from his music that skyrocketed to popularity in the 60s. The film features popular actors and singers such as Timothée Chalamet, Joan Baez, and Elle Fanning. Bob Dylan will be performing at 7 p.m. on Friday, April 11th in Elliott Hall. Julia Blanford reporting for Fast Track News.
That's so cool that someone with a big legacy is coming to campus. Personally, I hope that Bruno Mars will visit Purdue soon.
I'm still hoping that Beyonce will make her way to Purdue too.
That would be cool. Adriana Harmeyer, a Purdue archivist and 15-game winner, continues to etch her way into the Jeopardy Hall of Fame. On Tuesday night, Harmeyer ended up with $25,000, almost $3,000 ahead of her competitors during Final Jeopardy. She became the first super champion to make their way into the finals of the Tournament of Champions. Harmeyer will move on to the final round of the tournament that begins tonight, February 7th, on NBC. She will be competing for her chance to win $250,000.
Are you ready to celebrate the Year of the Snake? The Asian American and Asian Resource and Cultural Center will be hosting their annual Lunar New Year celebration on Saturday, February 8th from 11 to 2 p.m. at the Correct Gold and Black Gyms. At the event, they will feature over 1,300 attendees, 9 performances, and 30 tabling campus partners and organizations. The AAARCC says that these types of gatherings are helpful in providing valuable opportunities for individuals from all backgrounds. They hope that this can build stronger connections within their vibrant community.
Coming up, I'm going to break down this colder weather that is in front of us. So if you were hoping for the nice 50, 60-degree weather that we got this week, that's not the case, and I'll break down what you can be seeing coming next week.
We are energetic, we are motivating, and we are unique.
I don't think you can beat Quidditch.
What does it take to be a Purdue tour guide? You've got to know your history. You have to know your facts. You've got to have that Purdue spirit. And you have to walk backwards.
Well, good afternoon, Boilermakers. Today we are looking at a high of 39 degrees and a low of 27. It's going to plummet pretty low into the high 20s come this evening. So make sure that if you're heading out to the game that you are packing a nice winter coat with you. Sunny and clear skies for most of the day, and the winds will be very moderate, consistent, just a nice little still breeze. Now, I like to look up a little bit of research to see what this day has been like in previous years. In the Almanac, actually, the coldest day for February 7th was in 1978 with negative 30, or not negative 30, negative 13 degrees. And then the hottest day, I found this kind of interesting because this was exactly 100 years ago. It was 64 degrees. And then today, just at a nice high of 39. Now looking at the game day forecast, the Boilermakers are going to be back in Mackey this evening. Tip-off, it's going to be 32 degrees, and then we could see as the sun goes down and as it's just starting to cool off that it will reach about 29 degrees. So when I say a chance of rain, It is a good chance of rain that could also lead into possibly some ice. So that's something that we are looking out for as we head into this evening. Again, rain chance 20%, but that doesn't mean that it's going to just stick and dissipate. It could stick and freeze. So looking at our weekend outlook, again, calm, slight chance of rain. Tomorrow, we will see it kind of skyrocket in temperatures a little bit, 49 degrees, and then with that, a chance of rain. Those temperatures will again plummet down to the 20s, and so rain that we could see Saturday into Sunday could be a chance of snow, which takes us in to the Super Bowl on Sunday, and again, temperatures are starting to cool off from there. Now, looking at this 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, we see that we are kind of in the below normal, meaning like a little bit colder than usual. Again, this kind of just means that we're going to be sticking and staying in the 30s for about the next week. You can kind of see this plume of warm air is completely below us. And as this front kind of comes in, we are right on that borderline. So with that, there will be a chance for it to warm up again by, I think, this time next week. So we're going to be riding that little like cold wave for a little while. And then Futurecast, looking here at rain and what is to be expected. So this is the 7th today through the 10th, so that will take us to Monday. Again, just some pockets of rain here, and then that will cover us. As you can see, there's also that chance that it's not rain and it could accumulate into snow. Now, Futurecast next week. This is pretty broad speaking here. So this comes from February 10th into the 17th. So this is taking us well into over a week from now. And I just want to kind of show those projections of rain that we could get. But Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, which I'll show coming up in my 7-day outlook, is snow, possibly rain if it warms up just enough. So looking at that 7-day forecast, we have Friday today is 39 degrees. Tomorrow, take it while you can, even though it's going to be rainy, it is going to be in the 40s. And then we gradually just decrease in temperature as we go into later next week with a light chance of snow and then colder temperatures coming up ahead.
Just ahead, men's basketball is sitting pretty on top of the Big Ten, thanks to a loss this week from Michigan State. But another test lies ahead tonight. Can the train keep rolling? I'm Kyler Kasman. Don't go away. Sports is next.
Feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I got drive, got sight, always have a vision. I don't lie at night, I be in my feelings. I'ma be fine, need time, and I'll soon be winning. I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got...
Purdue women's basketball snapped a 9-game losing streak Sunday with a 13-point win over Wisconsin. The Boilermakers had one of their best first quarters of the season, getting out to a 10-point lead behind 9 points from Sophie Swanson. The Badgers caught up in the second. They cut Purdue's lead to 6 at the half with a corner 3 from Wisconsin guard Ronnie Porter at the buzzer. Wisconsin stayed aggressive after the break. The Badgers held Purdue to 12 points on 29% shooting in the third and tied the game. But the Boilermakers fought hard in the fourth to secure their first conference win of the season. Kendall Puryear led the way with 18 points and 4 rebounds. Ella Collier added 15 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. Following the win, Puryear said the team has started to find its footing despite recent struggles.
During our losing streak, we just weren't coming together very well, and I think these last couple games we have definitely figured out how to play off each other, and that's what's giving us our success.
Men's basketball is on the road to take on Rutgers Sunday at 1 p.m. It's time to mark your calendars, Boilermakers. The football team has announced its 2025 spring game. The news came from offensive analyst David Spurlock from social media on Monday. The game will take place on April 12th, where fans will gather to see the new face. After an underwhelming 2-year stretch of 5-19, West Lafayette is ready to welcome a change at head coach in Barry Odom. Odom himself made an appearance at the men's basketball game versus Indiana.
We're going to get
remember to get out to Ross-Ade on April 12th and watch Fast Track Sports as we continue our coverage on Purdue football and other Purdue sports. Purdue women's tennis completed a comeback versus Memphis on Sunday 4-3, scoring the last 4 consecutive singles points to win the match. Down 0-3, Catherine Wilson began the momentum during singles play at the number 6 position, with Purdue's first point of the duel. Soon after, number 3 singles, Juana Larinaga completed her match to put the Boilermakers in position to win. Purdue's next competition will be on February 14th versus DePaul. Purdue men's tennis defeated Bradley 4-3 on Saturday, improving to a 4-0 record. Leading 3-2, Noor Fathala sealed Purdue's victory with 6-5, 4-6, and 7-5 results at the number 4 singles position. Fathala remains undefeated in 2025 with a 4-0 record in singles and 2-0 record in doubles. Freshman Maj Premzel had himself a day, picking up a win at the number 5 singles, 6-4 and 6-3. With this result, Premzel also moves to 4-0 in singles this spring. Purdue will travel to Cornell next Sunday, February 12th, for their first road test of the season. Over the start of this week, the women's golf team took a trip to the Caribbean for the Purdue Puerto Rico Classic. Continuing a tradition that's lasted 20 years, Purdue women's golf hosted 17 teams in Puerto Rico, including 6 top 25 opponents. During the second round, Natasha Kiel recorded her 9th par or better round of the season, a team best. The Boilermakers ended up finishing 10th in the tournament thanks to much of Jasmine Collar's third round success. Collar ended up finishing the tournament 2 under par while having 0 bogeys across her final 16 holes. The team's next tournament is the Spartan Suncoast Invitational in Florida from February 16th to 17th. Purdue swimmer Abby Markoukaitis broke the school record in the 200 backstroke last Saturday. Markoukaitis won the event by a whole second and eclipsed the previous record by less than 0.2 of a second. Markoukaitis isn't the only swim dive athlete breaking team records. The women's team has also set new program records in the 50 freestyle, 400 individual medley, 3-meter diving, and platform diving. Saturday, the Boilermakers scored a couple victories in indoor track and field at the Midwest Classic Invitational. Men's Bode Gilkerson won the high jump with 2.05 meters, and women's Lauren Pegger won the mile with the fastest time set by a Boilermaker freshman in 15 seasons. At 4 minutes and 49.23 seconds, Pegger was 2 seconds off of joining top 10 overall for the program. The men's team also took home 2 silvers and a bronze, while the women's team brought back 2 silvers and 2 bronzes. Earlier this week, we covered the largest Indiana college rivalry in men's basketball. We go to Katie Donninger with the story.
IU and Purdue faced off in a rivalry game last Friday. Purdue finished ahead, winning 81-76. The game was extremely aggressive. There were a total of 35 fouls called on both teams. The game was close, with 15 lead changes throughout the matchup. IU led at the half, 43-37, shocking the Boilermaker fans. We talked to several fans before the game that believed that the matchup would be a blowout. Both Braden Smith and Trey Kaufman-Wren led the Boilermakers with 24 and 23 points respectively. Fletcher Lawyer following closely behind with 15 points. After the matchup, we interviewed former Purdue men's basketball coach Gene Cady about what he thought of the exciting matchup on Cady Court and what the Boilermakers should learn from the game.
Make your free throws and never give up.
Sophomore Grant Roegman spoke after the match about the rivalry between IU and Purdue and its effect on the game.
How do you think, because the game was so close, did you expect it to be so close, or did you think something else was going to happen?
You know, I knew it was going to be a tough fight because this rivalry has history, and, you know, I know everyone was going to be playing at their best potential, so I knew it was going to be a dogfight from the start.
It was announced that both Trey Kaufman-Wren and Braden Smith were selected as semifinalists for the Oscar Robinson Trophy, presented by the United States Basketball Writers Association. If one of them were to win, it would be the 3rd year in a row a Boilermaker has won, as Zach Edey received the trophy for the past 2 seasons. Smith was also nominated for the Bob Cousy Award as one of 10 semifinalists. This award is given to the nation's top point guard by the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. Smith was also a finalist last season. Reporting from Mackey Arena, I am Katie Donninger for Fast Track Sports.
Thank you, Katie. Well, that's a wrap for sports, but stay tuned. Fast Track will be back right after this quick timeout.
If I could describe Boilers Go to DC in one word, I would say insightful. I've done a couple internships in DC, but this experience was different and opened my eyes into what other aspects of DC has to offer in networking and relationships as well.
If I could describe BGDC in one word, I would say eye-opening. I've been to DC a couple times before, but I have had nowhere close to an experience as immersive or as informative as the BGDC experience.
If you're interested in politics and you want to get into working in government, this is a good experience for you.
It was something I initially myself really wanted to do, but I know there were a lot of people that might be on more of the fence about it. And I truly think BGDC was worth every penny, every time I did a reflection. Absolutely worth it.
If I can describe BGDC in one word, it's life-changing.
Now it's time for our question of the week. What are your Super Bowl predictions?
We asked students what they thought.
Okay, who do you want to win and why?
The Chiefs, because I'm actually from Kansas City.
Oh, okay. Do you think it's going to be a high-scoring game, a low-scoring game? What is your score prediction?
I think it's going to be like really close, maybe like a low-scoring game. I feel like they're both pretty good, so
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, what and your score prediction?
Ooh, maybe like 30-35, something like that. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 35-30 Chiefs over the Eagles.
I think the Eagles are probably going to win. It's going to be a high-scoring game. Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley are a really good duo right there for the offense, and they have a really good defense that I think can have some good takeaways as well.
Okay. Yeah, and score prediction?
Score, I think, is probably going to be Eagles 42, Chiefs 28.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so I'm here with Lloyd, and we just wanted to ask you, who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl and why?
I really want the Philadelphia Eagles to win because I really like Jalen Hurts. I've been watching him since like Alabama. He was tough winning the national championship. So I really hope that he take down Kansas City Chiefs because like Patrick Mahomes, he's been doing like way too well. Like he needs to like give it up. Like, you know, give somebody else a chance.
Yeah, okay. So can we get a score prediction?
I think it's going to be close, but I think it might be like probably going to be a low-scoring game. So probably like 28-21.
28-21 Philadelphia Eagles.
Well, we have some rain that is coming into our forecast, but what I talked about a little bit earlier was that rain could turn into snow. So here I want to show our 7-day outlook. We have, again, chances of rain on Saturday, and then that will kind of breeze in Sunday through Wednesday and could turn into some snow. So if you're having any outdoor plans next week, I'd either likely move them indoors or make sure that you have a nice winter jacket coming up ahead.
That's all for our show today. We'll be back Friday for consistent coverage on everything Purdue. I'm Kyle Herschel.
And I'm Kyla McElroy. Thank you for watching Fast Track News. We'll see you next week.